Good afternoon. It's Friday. What happened to my 70s? We're about 50, and it's kind of rain. It's not a mist. It's past mist into rain. And, well, there's no wind, and it's nice. It was a productive day, so there's that. What's going on in the world? Well, as parents, we all face the question of how do we instruct children when they do something wrong, and it differs from the first to the second to the third time. Now, I never struck my daughter, nor would I think to do that. But there's one comic that talks about how engaging a child in conversation doesn't take you very far, because they always have another question. And my daughter had learning differences. So, this is a thing you work out. But we know certain principles, which is that when something happens, whether human or animal, you have to tell them right away, whoa, no, don't do that. And here's why. Safety, social concerns, things like that. Now, let's leap from this deliberate kind of distinction as to how we treat children or animals to Trump, who calls the DA in New York an animal. And I don't know, maybe it'd be too cheeky, but I think if he did that to me, and I'm not a person of color, which I think informs how he decides he can treat another person. He doesn't like persons of color, he doesn't like women very much, So I would be tempted, if I were a person of color, to say, yes, I'm a lion. I am a wonderful animal, and you're a sloth. You're an oleaginous, creepy lizard, But, I don't know, as kids, we practiced talking trash. But we left that behind as kids, and a parent or two probably said things to us like, well, maybe you shouldn't do that. There was a rhyme I was saying one day in my house, and I'd heard some other kids say it. I had no idea what the word meant, and my mom got upset with me. So I didn't say that word anymore. Okay, but we have more than just words. When it comes to Trump, who at 1 a.m. today reissued another series of crazy things about how there would be deaths and destruction and so forth if this frivolous charge against him for sleeping with two ladies of the night, or one, was just a trivial charge and nobody else should be charged with it. Well, that's our boy. He takes it from discriminatory trash talk, identifying the people who want to get him, who are all persons of color. In New York and in D.C. and in, everywhere. Those are the only people who want to get him. The AG in New York, the DA in New York, and the prosecutor in Georgia. So we know he has this problem. We know it from the beginning. We know it from when he came down the staircase that he has this problem. He is hurting, and I'm glad he's hurting, but he should not be allowed to threaten to hurt others. Ari Melber last night did a thing upon this aspect of coercion and threats and hurting in the case of criminal prosecutions, but otherwise. And that's what we have with Trump. We have a person who knows no bounds in law or constitution or common conduct, and that's him. Now, a child does it once, and we talk to him. So we have this enormous man-child. They were so close, I thought I'd stop. I didn't want to be hit by a school bus. It just seems I want to go out in some other way. I've told my wife that I want them to say that I fell 1,000 feet off a bridge or something. Who wants it to be the calcification of your organs in some fashion or other, or some instantaneous disease, or you fall and you want to have a spectacular death. Also, by the way, on my tombstone, I'm going to put Objection. Exclamation point. So why am I talking death? Because that's what this man lives with. Trump lives with death. Trump believes in death. Trump believes in coercion and punishment and order. Trump is a little Hitler, a little Napoleon. Of course, these men, well, he is a legend in his own mind. So he even lies to himself. So he has all these characteristics. Okay, so that's him. So what should we be doing about it? Why isn't there a single federal agent at that castle of his in Florida saying, what the hell do you think you're doing? Who are you? What are you saying? What is this trip to Waco about? Okay, you don't want to be that direct. Issue a grand jury subpoena. It's way past time. Or how about the following? The Attorney General of the United States summons a press conference and talks about threatening witnesses and coercion and what he's going to do to anybody should they try that. Nah, silence from the Justice Department. Silence. Inaction. Or bullshit. That is, to convince us that they may do something, they may even be doing something, but they can't tell us because it's an investigation. They take an oath of office to preserve and protect this nation, to protect us from enemies, foreign and domestic. We got one, and what are we doing about it? We have statutes that provide for punishment for people who interfere and obstruct and threaten other people, particularly on national media. Something goes across the whole nation. We all remember what Waco was. Is this a symbol to the people on the far right? Those people without a brain to lean on? Who themselves have hate like he does? Who were told to stand by, and then when they were called up, they were there on January the 6th? And where's our president? Yes, it's great to do certain missions that America expected when you were elected, Joe. But you can't assume politics is going to take care of this. In fact, the substitute for politics is law that gives notice to everyone what they should or shouldn't do based on what the society has decided through its representative government. And then when somebody violates those laws and provisions that are not political, that are the rules of the road for a citizen in the United States, you enforce them. You enforce them on this child, the man-child, who sat in the Oval Office disgracing it for all time, particularly if we do nothing as he challenges the democracy that is ours, that we permit the conditions of autocracy to creep into our society by doing nothing against those lawbreakers like Trump. So that's a couple of thoughts I have about Trump. I have a parallel concern about how we're educating our young. Those of you who agree with me, we probably were all taught the same thing. Respect for law, for elders, how we speak, what we do, things like that. And there are a lot of people in our society that don't live in that way. Some imagine that religion gives them license to discriminate, to treat badly other people, to be intolerant of different views. Now, one example I have is parents basically pushed a principal out of a school because the 6-year-olds were shown one of the most fabulous statues ever created, Michelangelo's David. And it's ironic on several levels because the statue is a man about to step forth from the masses and take on a monster, Goliath. And he's in that instant holding his slingshot with the stone that he does not know will bring down Goliath or stun him so that he can attack him and cut him with a sword. That's what that statue is about. I don't know what the teacher taught the children in the 6th grade. But when I went to school, we had postcards that the teacher circulated, and I pasted in a book. And that was my earliest access to art. And my dad sketched, so I sketched, and things like that. Children should have that. They should have that knowledge of beauty, to appreciate it if they can't create it, to protect it when they can't do anything else. And so you have parents teaching children that art is dangerous and should be ignored. Now, I presume on some level that children at 6 have a good idea what they individually look like without their clothes on, and probably bathed together and did other things together. So who are these parents? What the hell do they know? Well, what they do know, no, what they don't know, what they are affecting is a child who is made to fear what he must know or she must know about art. And that your body is, well, you know, said it's the temple you carry around with you. And so it's instructive to us to see how a person like Michelangelo epitomizes a man in the instant when he's committed and made a decision that will risk his life, when he doesn't know that he's going to prevail, turned into this marble statue that looks as soft as flesh and as human as a real person, a special person, maybe a perfect person, a platonic embodiment of what's the best. So, we cannot treat parents such as these as beyond reproof. And there have been a series of reactions because I put it up on Twitter and people had some pretty funny things. Like, well, I suppose you don't care what college admissions will be for your child. These people are probably terrified of college. So, I start with the notion of a parent and a child. We talk about Trump, and we have masses out there that are disciplining their children and crushing our educational system, depriving the children of opportunities, at least of insight into art, if not to have a more general acceptance of what the riches of a life can be. So, on this rainy day, and I feel cheated because it was 73 yesterday, I talk to you from my cathedral of trees, wetter today than yesterday, and if I can, I'll be out again tomorrow. Bye-bye.